Hello, welcome to NFL World. NFL Starts and Ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And right when we got off the air, about half an hour later, we had told you that Frank Reich was fired from the Indianapolis Colts. Well, they named his successor, its former Colts offensive lineman and ESPN analyst, Jeff Saturday. Now, this was a move that shocked a lot of people. It shocked me as well. And a lot of people on these shows try to make it sound like this was a terrible decision, and this is this, and this is that. They're not saying he's the permanent guy. We will talk about Jeff Saturday and the Colts against the Raiders in a future video, but Jeff Saturday, who wouldn't take that job? You're an ambassador of the Colts. You're in their Ring of Honor. You won a Super Bowl. You now work on television. You know how to lead guys. You know what greatness is. Who wouldn't take that job? And you hear people saying, it's a disgrace, it's an embarrassment, it's this, it's that. No one cares. The only thing that matters is what does the owner think. The owner, Jim Irsay, said Jeff Saturday is the guy. That's what matters. And that's what happened. Jeff Saturday is now the interim coach of the Colts. The Ravens had activated Deshaun Jackson versus the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football last week. They did this because the injury to Rashad Bateman. This doesn't help the Ravens because you can't expect D-Jack at his age, at 36 I think he is, to be a consistent contributor. He needs help. You need to find someone to help him a bit. Now, obviously, you didn't want Bateman to go down, but there's a lot of guys still out there you can go and talk to. There's T.Y. Hilton, there's Will Fuller, there's OBJ, there's Odell Beckham Jr., there's all these guys. You can talk to these guys. Would they want to be part of a run-first offense? That is the question that we don't know. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. We don't know. But what we do know is Deshaun Jackson does need help at that wide receiving core. The Raiders cut former first-round pick and starting safety Jonathan Abrams just because they did. Abrams was part of the previous regime that Mike Mayock and John Gruden constructed. And I always thought Abrams was a good player. A hard-hitting safety, which you don't find a whole lot anymore. He kind of lacks a bit of the ball skills, but that's not his game. He's a hard-hitting safety. But he was cut. He was actually picked up by the Packers. And I don't know. We'll see how he contributes to the Packers in any way possible. The NFL the NFL has flexed the Bengals-Steelers matchup from November 27 to 4:25 on CBS, and flexed the Chiefs-Chargers matchup to 8:30 on that same day. Now, I heard a lot about this. We will discuss Bengals and Steelers, but I don't understand this flex because there was a couple games that you could have said, yeah, but we should have flexed those games. And I'd agree with you. Did the Falcons and Panthers deserve a primetime slot on Thursday Night Football? The answer is no. Both teams are not good. Both teams are one of the middle. Yet somehow, with how bad the division has been, they were leading the division at one point. That's how insane this is. The Raiders placed both Darren Waller with a hamstring injury and Hunter Renfrow an oblique injury on IR. The Hunter Renfrow one is interesting to me, because to me, when you brought in Devontae Adams, and even when you had, before that, when you said, well, we need a guy, Hunter Renfrow was that guy. The guy you got the ball on third down, the guy you get the ball when you need some good plays to get involved, you give to Hunter Renfrow and you just let him go. The Darren Waller injury, that's an injury that's plagued him since the Chiefs game in Arrowhead. Because he got banged up and he was ruled out. And since then, he hasn't played. And according to Ian Rappaport, he said that that Waller it just never got better. And they hope they wouldn't have to do this, but they are having to. My guess is they wanted to do this a lot earlier, but they decided to just hold off and hold off and hold off. And now you're at this point in the year where he's gone until week 14, week 15, and you hope he plays at that point? That's concerning if I'm the Raiders, who desperately need it. Another shocking thing for the Raiders is their linebacker, Blake Martinez, just decided to retire. This past week, he just decided to retire. Their starting linebacker just retired. You ask, how come? This season's been bad for the Raiders. I think everyone's just trying to get out and cut their losses, but as soon as they can. I'm not saying that happened to Blake Martinez, but he retired. And the Raiders find themselves in a much deeper and darker hole. How does this season unfold? And is there any chance that they turn it around? And is there any chance that this regime comes back next